I remember
So
I think I remember what the name of it was. Give me a 1 second, because I actually
one
did
Mississippi,
Google it.
two
Oh yeah.
Mississippi. See,
Yeah,
guys, Mike's a liar.
maybe a
You
little
always
bit
think, oh,
longer.
Mike's an honest guy, but then I catch him in lies all the time. It's like 1 second. It's like really like 15 seconds.
Okay, give me a moment. That's 90 seconds then.
So now a moment's 90 seconds according to his math.
Good to go.
What's up, everybody? So many shows.com, so many mashups. This is Mike, this is Pete, this is Lincoln Lawyer. What season we in now?
Season 4.
Season four, the whole thing in one mashup. That's right.
Yes.
We're gonna just talk about the important things like food and places to eat and who's the new female in the mix that claims to be the sister, which I don't know. I don't know. It seems
Yeah,
like
I
a
know.
female boss. We're gonna discuss that. Female boss is my call, but she did say my training, and we'll get there. Mike, what's up? How you doing today?
I am doing well, and just to give our viewers or listeners a heads up, this is going to be a spoiler-filled mashup. So if you haven't seen all 10 episodes, please go watch them and then come back and visit our mashup.
And if you're not listening and we spoil it for you, too bad because it's a mashup. We do whatever the hell we want. So I'm gonna say this. I thought the season was so good. However,
However,
when we got to the end and the way that it all played out and he got off, I was so disappointed and felt like the air was let out of my sails. I didn't know how he was going to get out. I saw little cracks in the system, but when it finally came down and they just gave him whatever he wanted because of this big thing they got going on, which we know they renewed for season five, so they did probably plan ahead with this writing and probably talked to Netflix about this and had this all figured out. But I thought he was going to get out with some fancy lawyer, finesse, and
yeah,
he got off on a technicality, basically, a situation, victim of circumstance.
I don't see it as a technicality, but yes, it is a huge circumstance. They're trying to protect this FBI investigation on this bleeding the beast thing, so they gave him what they wanted or what he wanted.
Which brings me back to the beginning, which is episode two. They found that, so during episode two, I believe there was a point where they found the so-called technicality and they could have got the whole case dismissed and he would have went free, right?
Yes. If the judge dismissed the case off that evidence, yeah.
And he chose not to do that because he felt like it would ruin his reputation. Now, I've never been in jail like that, facing life in prison at all, especially. And I want to think you haven't,
No, I have not.
but
That anybody knows of.
and I want to think that like, hey, I'm a pretty upstanding guy with good morals and good ethics, and I care about my reputation, yes. But two things here. First of all, you got to take the dismissal instantly, get the fuck out of there, call it a season, and walk away. Season's over. Episode two, Mickey Hollis the man. Because here's the thing, I got two reasons for this. One, if it doesn't go your way, you do go to jail and you do die. You do life in
Hmm.
prison or whatever it is. You go to life in prison, whatever he was facing. You're guilty. If you're guilty, there's a chance that could happen, and you can be screwed forever. At the same time, you're worried about your reputation, but as somebody who always looks at it from the criminal side of things,
Yes.
what better lawyer would you want defending you than the defense attorney who got off on murder on a technicality?
Good point. I like that.
Now, I know there's a daughter aspect in there, and I don't have kids, so this shit does not affect me, but you do have kids.
Yes.
Do you feel that, like, did you feel his pain, understand where he's coming from, or did you think he was stupid also and not taking the technicality, he's getting the fuck out of there?
Funny thing, we just talked about this last night as the time we're recording this mashup. The second podcast of the Lincoln Law Pod will be coming out. But my theory is that he's putting his life in his hands of the gods of guilt, the jury. So what if the jury does find him guilty and he winds up going to prison anyway? So yeah, I didn't think it was a smart move on his play because he's always told his clients, it's like yada 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 throughout these 4 seasons. You're putting your life in the hands of the gods of guilt. The jury could find you guilty when you know you're innocent. So yeah, so I don't think it was a smart move on his play. I think he should have introduced the video. That's why I kind of liked when he did that whole undercover sting thing with the Baja plan that he had with Lorna and Cisco there. So at least he got out on bail for that and embarrassed the sheriff's department in the process. So yeah,
So we probably won't talk about him much. Rest in peace,
yes,
Legal
I
Beagle.
yeah I cried. And to
Yeah,
see
it
the
was
end
very
of
sad.
this
He
episode.
had one of the best lines of the show though when he was talking to Lorna.
Hmm.
And he's like, you can't, he's like, any lawyer who goes in there and swing for home runs all the time, you're asking for the impossible. He's like, you walked in there and got a stand-up double without even trying. And he's like, that's a win, kid. Like,
Yep.
now the actor that plays him, did he really pass in, or was that just part of the show? And
I think,
is that in the books?
oh, sorry. Yes. Elliot Gold, I believe he's still with us because,
That's what I thought. That's why I started looking up
yes.
shit. I was like, wait a minute, no, this guy's not really dead.
Yeah, but in the books, he does pass away, but he passes away. I think he passes away during the time of Mickey being in prison, but they don't mention it until the next book, the Resurrection Walk. So yeah, in Resurrection Walk, he visits the grave site of Legal Seagull, and I kind of like, oh man, they killed off Legal Seagull in the book there. So I wasn't expecting to have them kill him off in the season, and when we got to that episode, I'm like, oh shit, that sucks.
So speaking of books,
Yes.
I saw there's a new book coming out called The Hollow or The Hollows, whatever it is. But
Yep, the Hollow.
Detective Harry Bosch.
Retired Harry Bosch, but yes.
And I also heard that there's a fancy brother lawyer guy in that book that tells him
Yep.
that there's money involved and whatever the case may be. That lawyer happens to be the Lincoln lawyer. However, we know that on the TV shows they're not connected, but on the books they are.
Yeah.
So we do cover Bosch and Ballard and Bosch Legacy and all kinds of stuff on so many shows, so many shows.com. And this is just a mashup of all the episodes together. However, if you're not aware of our content that we have that goes more exclusively into more in depth, Mike, why don't you tell them what we got going on podcast wise? What do you guys do when you do your Lincoln Lawyer reviews?
Yes. So we used to kind of do like a recap of what happens in the episode. We kind of decided to swing opposite of that, where we just discussed our favorite moments. We'll do a game, whether it's trivia or quotes or passwords, something like that. Just keep things fun. We do a Sparks meter where we rank each episode on a Sparks meter from 0 to 5. And it's just been fun to discuss the episodes more in depth a little bit because then we can figure out. And if you had any questions about what happened in an episode where you're kind of questioning it or questioning like what happened in an episode, we get a few people's ideas and input on what happened. So it's been fun to talk about that on the Lincoln Law Pod, which as of
Where
right
can they
now,
find? Yeah, where can they find
yes,
that?
right now I'm posting them to YouTube exclusively until our website's back up and running, or we get another website to transfer to. We're still waiting to hear on that. So yes, you can find our content on YouTube for the time being.
And those are just different hosts, different times. Mike is the main guy there, and then there's he just has people join him, Tracy, Jay, some new faces that I'm very happy to hear from, and different
Yes.
opinions and different ideas, and not just the same old. Hey, it's me. I'm from New York. I think this should happen. This should happen. I'm the criminal. Hey, it's me, Pete. Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? You don't get the same bullshit. You've been listening to for mashups for the last 6 months, but
Hey, but we do miss you. We every now and then. I think Tracy mentioned something in our episode 2 podcast, which will be probably released just before this one. She did say something about she had Pete on her kind of in her mind when she was thinking about the Maggie and Jack situation. So listen up for episode 2 of the Lincoln Law Pod for Tracy's take on that. So I'm kind of curious, since I got you here, what was your take on Maggie and Jack's relationship this season?
well, I mean, okay, so maybe I'm confused, but they are still together, right? Nothing happened with them. They didn't show a conclusion. Like they break up. Did I miss a breakup?
No, I don't think they broke up. Maggie was going back to San Diego to hang out with Jack again, so they never broke up. She just ignored his call at one point, and there was a few moments where he thought Maggie and Mickey were going to start making out and stuff like that. But no,
So
she went back home to Jack.
So this was a whole. Okay. So here's my thing. This was a whole setup, right? The whole thing was a setup. Like, oh,
Yep.
Mickey, the whole operation. So now I was trying to figure out who set him up, and I thought it definitely. And Jack seemed to have so many connections that I thought for
Oh,
sure that Jack might have been the workaround on this whole thing. At
that would
one
have been
point,
a fun twist.
that's only because this guy I never read the book, so I'm like this guy Jack is creepy. Then who was it? What's her name? Izzy,
Yep.
her new girlfriend.
Yeah, Grace.
Grace, who, when I first thought, I was like, oh, who is this chick? She's mad suspicious. There's something going on. And she also had connections because her boss was in the prosecutor's office. So I was like, is she there to spy on the case? Is there something
Yep.
going on? Is Grace involved? I'm trying to look for where's the double agent here?
Yes, same.
And it didn't take me that. It didn't take me there. So I was kind of relieved that it wasn't the same old story where like, oh no, this girl Grace is gonna, infiltrate the group and find out what's going on behind the scenes and take pictures like we had that on one of the shows. shows. What was that? Was like
Bosch,
Ballard, right? Yeah.
Bosch Legacy. Yep.
Oh, Bosch Legacy. Yeah. That.
Yeah. Mo's
Yes.
girlfriend. Yeah. Or not
Yeah.
girlfriend,
So
girlfriend. Yes. FBI agent.
who? Well, yeah, whatever. It's everything. So like that's where I was at with that. They did mention Andy in the beginning, like, oh, I'm not bringing Andy involved in this, but I'm sorry, there were certain points in this season where you needed all the help you can get, and I thought for sure we were going to get an Andy appearance, and I didn't see it.
Yeah, I was hoping for that too. Didn't get it.
I wasn't
And
even hoping for it, but I was like, if you're going to be realistic, even
yeah.
if I don't want it, this is your. If she has the connections to help you, she has influence. Like at some point, it would have been about your character, and she would have had to vouch for you.
Yes.
So it's like, you didn't use all the weapons at your disposal, which, like I said, him not like doing some crazy lawyer thing and getting off on it, with a not guilty plea with a jury in front of everybody, to me was a big letdown personally. I didn't like it. I would have gave the last episode on the Sparks meter probably a 2, but
Okay.
but the rest of the season, 1 through whatever, up
Yes.
until that was going to be a 5 on the Sparks meter.
Yep.
So that's how I felt. And it wasn't that there was a bad ending. It was just not the ending that I was waiting for and the ending that I wanted. So
Yes.
I'm not saying it was bad. It just wasn't what I wanted. So because it wasn't what I wanted, and this is my Sparks meter, I'm going to go with
Yeah.
a lower level for the finale. And that's it. Also, I'm going to transition real quick before we get to your Sparks meter. Food places. So they eating this sandwich or whatever they eating, and she's like, "Oh, we always find all these weird places everywhere." And I'm just trying to think to myself, like, how much food? How much does he like? How much can you eat? Like, so I like to eat food, and I like to go to different food places per se. But how do you know, like, okay, I'm gonna try this one place on this block, but then there's like 18 things on the menu or 25 things on the menu. How do you know what like the chicken sandwich is going to be to die for from that
Hmm.
place, and the steak sandwich isn't to die for? Like, how does he know? Like, oh, the chicken sandwich from here, the tacos from here, this thing from here. So that means he's had everything on the menu on each of these places, or most of the stuff on the menu on each of these places, and figured out that this was the best they had.
Probably. I mean, we go back to season one where he's trying to go through all the food trucks with Izzy thing. And so, I mean, when you live in LA long enough, and he said he kind of grew up during the school year in Mexico, but spent every summer with his dad. And his dad was a defense attorney, probably could afford some decent meals. So they probably got around to trying a bunch of places when he
He's
was
a
growing up.
toothpick for somebody who eats that much and that good. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, listen, I go to the gym like 3, 4 times a week, and I'm psycho class, and I'm still like 10 pounds more than I need to be right now, like over my designed weight that I'm doing, and I'm like eating broccoli and shit sometimes,
Yep.
like
So you're the
carrot
carrot stick
sticks.
guy. Carrot
Yeah.
stick. Carrot
Now,
stick guy.
at one point, I don't know if you noticed it, he went and bought the ice pop or the lemon pop from the guy, and then he poured something on it.
Yes.
Do we know what that is?
I don't. I think it's like a spice, if I'm not mistaken. I
It looked like
didn't
hot
look it
sauce
up.
to me, but I was like a lemon pop with hot sauce. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's more like a Mexican thing for dessert, but I know some Mexican desserts also come with like a little bit of spice. I think he like seasoned it with like I don't know, like pot pepper of some sort. I don't know.
Listen, if you actually listen to us and you know what the hell we're talking about, send us a message somewhere.
Yes.
Comment on YouTube, let us know, and we will discuss this on another matchup somewhere, or we'll type it in our page and we'll get it out there because I would like to know what this ice pop was and what the spice was. So,
I think I remember what the name of it was. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the dessert that he got was a paleta, and they're a Mexican frozen treat made from fresh natural fruits such as strawberry and mango, or made up from rich, creamy ingredients such as chocolate and Sicilian pistachio. But yeah, sure.
we're gonna call it hot sauce for the sake of the mashup.
Yes.
So yes, what was your Sparks meter for the whole season, 1 through 5 Sparks meter for the whole
Oh,
season overall?
whole season overall, I give it a 4.7.
All
There
right.
was moments that were different from the book, which was great because if it's exactly like the book, people are just going to expect everything that comes out through every single episode. So, but with everybody banding together, seeing Maggie taking the side of Mickey Holler to
Maggie had a
defend
big
them.
role this season.
Yeah, she did.
We
Yeah,
haven't we've been next for I've been next for more Maggie, so my mouth's shut there.
yes.
Can't
Yes,
complain.
plus it's like there was always an excuse for Maggie to be up in LA, whether it's to be a character witness for him during the bail hearing. Haley had this going on. Jack had a surgery for a Laker, so we're back, and we got a suite at a
But
basketball game, and yes,
I
so
th
there's always a
I think
reason
we
for him
can
to be
all
there.
agree that if not our favorite moment, one of our top 3 favorite moments of the season was definitely when the moment when she walked in and was like Maggie so and so for the defense,
Yep.
and everyone's just like, oh shit, let's fucking go right now.
Yeah,
Like that's it.
exactly.
And then it ended.
Yep,
It was like, okay, now you gotta wait for the next episode, asshole. So that
exactly.
was that was fun. Yeah, but my favorite part of the season was when he's like, yeah, this guy's up there in the suite, and the bad guys went looking for him, and they threw him out the window onto the car, and he's like, yeah, we have a little problem, Mick.
Yeah, I actually saw that coming. I didn't, it happened different in the books, so it's not what happens in the books. But as he's standing outside the hotel there, it's like there's a body gonna drop here, and then
Like, you're
boom.
just waiting for
Exactly.
because they went in to get him, and he just figured out that they weren't there to protect him, they were there to kill him too, like whatever.
Exactly.
So I thought that was interesting. Cisco got his ass beat by those guys.
Yeah, I was, it was sad to see that, but I'm glad he didn't get thrown in the trunk and driven away because then he would
And
have
he
been
took on both of them. He
disappeared.
survived. He
Yep.
didn't. I
Well,
thought like he was gonna be. I thought for sure when that happened, they were like, oh, because you know what happened. Right after that happened, they called Lorna on the phone, and then she started crying. So I'm
yep.
like, oh, is Cisco in the hospital and like unconscious in a coma or something? Like, is
Yep.
something happened? And we found out it was even worse than news because somebody was dead, somebody close to us, a buddy. So yeah, that sucked. But as we transition to my new favorite character of the season, also might be the stupidest in the history of Lincoln Lawyer, Bomb Bomb.
Bamba. Yeah,
He's
Bamba
getting
Bishop.
Bamba. He's getting paid to protect Mick, right? In
Yep.
the jail. Because he's a Crip. Obviously, we find out later he was a Crip or have Crip life on his hands or whatever the case may be. So he obviously, he's in a gang and that was gang protection, whatever the case may
Yep.
be. Gets out on the outside, says, "Not in that life no more." Tells Mick, "You said you're gonna hook me up." So now you have like that strange bedfellas gimmick where he's driving for him, and there was some really good scenes when he's in the car with the music blasting and then he's eating and it gets all over the place and he
Yep.
gives him so like there was a lot of good moments with him, but then he like parked in front of a police station and the guy was writing a ticket and he like yelled at him and was like, "Fuck the police sideways," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It didn't happen that way in the book, so obviously I didn't care for that Bamba's character in the show because in the book character, it was different. He was actually helping Mickey. He was the driver for the rest of the book. So when Bamba got arrested, I'm like, for what? I'm like, what the heck did he do?
Parole
Parole
violation.
violation. Jeez.
So he's away for another 16 months. You think he'll come back into the show again at some point? Has the driver, since you said he's in the books and is driver for the rest of the books, like he's still his driver now?
No, he was the driver for the rest of that one book. I in the Resurrection Walk, it's Bosch that's kind of his driver, and they work together to figure out what case to take on next to walk another innocent person.
Well, I guess we can transition to the end. The
Yeah.
some people call it cliffhanger end, and so there's some female who was not very attractive female is like kind of like looking at Mickey, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna be his new girlfriend. Is she gonna be an undercover Armenian that's gonna try to kill him?
Yep.
Is she gonna be an FBI? Like, what's going on here? Because it seems very suspicious. Or is it gonna be him with a new girlfriend? And then like that's how he gets his. He's been in prison. He needs to get his too. But it ends up being even creepier because he meets the girl, about to get the name of the female, and she says, "Get down."
Yep.
Grabs him in like some weird chokehold and flips him down. Which at that point you know that she's there to help him.
Yep.
So then all of a sudden you hear like the FBI. So now you think that she's in the FBI and it was all part of them protecting him because he knew something was up.
Hmm.
However, she wasn't with the FBI and it was the coincidence that she was there. And if she wasn't there, he'd be dead even with the FBI's protection.
Yes.
So she just says, "I'm your sister," and they don't get a name, right?
No. No name and no name mentioned in that episode.
Now, I know from you guys, not from the books, I do not read them,
Yep.
that his half brother is Harry Bosch.
Yes.
And that in the books he meets up with his half brother.
Yep.
So, and we all know that Harry Bosch, coming from that character, isn't a retired police officer,
Yes.
detective, whatever. She said, "Oh, it wasn't that. It was just, I guess it was just my training kicked in."
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was training or instincts because I think my daughter
It
said it was
was
instinct.
training.
It was training. You went back
Yes,
and
I went back
yeah.
and I
Okay.
confirmed that was training. So therefore, that tells me that she is a retired or current police officer or some FBI agent, something,
Yep.
somewhere involved in law enforcement. And that's what she meant when she said training. And she's going to play the role of Harry Bosch in the books is going to be a female Bosch, which I call it.
Yep.
And I'll probably call her that forever because I then went and looked up the books, how many sisters Mickey have in the books, and he does have three sisters, and one of them is named Allison.
Oh, okay.
But him and Allison don't necessarily do that, where him and Harry go into like, whatever the case is. Supposedly they work together on things as he does like research, whatever I was reading up on, Wikipedia, normal stuff.
For Harry
So
or
yeah,
Harry.
for the book characters, because what is Harry and Mickey? Don't they end up doing stuff together in the book?
Yeah, they partnered up a few times in the books to because Harry has always been adamant that it's just like his line in Bosch Legacy. If you were to help a defense attorney, it would undo everything he's ever done, in his career. And we've seen that in Bosch Legacy season 1, 2, where he was getting text messages and emails from people that were pissed that he's working for Honey Chandler. So yeah, they partner up in the books a few times, and
Now,
Harry
do you know
helps
who
out
this
where he can.
Allison sister is?
No, because in the books that she's isn't really covered. I think the siblings aren't really covered. It's basically only Harry that's being brought up throughout the
And
books.
that's what they said. They said there's no way that they would be bringing in any one of those half sisters into the TV show because there's no story there where the story is Bosch. So obviously, since they can't use Bosch, the Bosch character because he's owned by Amazon,
Yep,
that they were going to do that. However, I got a beef here. I got a beef here, and
you
this is a
gotta be.
mashup, so we can have this beef. If we were on
Yes.
the podcast, I couldn't have this beef, so this is my beef.
Okay.
You no longer have Bosch or Bosch Legacy.
Hmm.
You're now doing Ballard on Amazon. What the fuck do you care if Netflix uses your character, Harry Bosch? Everything is to do Michael Connolly. They're all his characters. So why wouldn't you do the common courtesy? And for you, Connolly, it's a slam dunk. And now I understand that it's hard to get, say, Titus Welliver and pay him a lot of money to be the Harry Bosch character on Lincoln Lawyer and Netflix. However, listen, as much as I hate bullshit and copycats, if you have to hire some cheap little nobody name just to play the Harry Bosch character, it is what it is. I'm just saying you missed a chance. I guess that's what they did in their own way with the female, whatever. But you had a chance to get Titus Welliver into a Netflix series through goodwill through Amazon, and you could have connected this whole thing and made this whole branch and connected this universe and made this whole wonderful thing that we all want.
Yes.
But I guess they wouldn't, Amazon didn't want to do that because it would have been all Netflix profit, and Amazon couldn't, then they would have had to make a deal of how much percentage each of them get through. And since Bosch is done here, Netflix, it's probably a politic thing, which then again, I'm going to say this because it's a mashup. We can say what we want. Politics is ruining my TV shit. Okay. This has been going on from the government, the real life government, presidents to now. Stop fucking with my TV, all right? If I want to see Titus Welliver as Harry Bosch on Netflix and he's an Amazon character, I don't care. If Fred Flintstone wants to go and be on HBO, I don't care if he's cartoon. That is the way I feel. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. Like you said, we don't know if this female that his sister that pops up in this last episode is going to be the fill-in Harry Bosch role. And I just noted that, or I spotted that it's Colby Smulders who plays the sister who has been in the Marvel universe. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen Harry or Titus pop into this episode. I know it's Michael Connelly's been saying since the Netflix picked up the Lincoln Lawyer when people are like, "Oh, cool, Titus Welliver can be on Netflix and has Harry Bosch." And Michael Connelly has stated many times to get Netflix and Amazon to work together, you'd have a better chance at world peace than getting Netflix and Amazon to work together. That's why I was so a little bit disappointed that they couldn't, make it work for this end here. It would have been nice to have seen Titus, giving Mickey the eyes in the grocery store.
Well, at the end of the day, if I can't have what I want, Michael Connolly, thank you for creating this stuff. And I'm glad that
Yes.
you're getting paid from both companies.
Yeah. It's good to
If
get
there's one
paychecks from
connection
multiple
there,
people.
it's
Yeah.
yes, it's from you, and you get paid from two of the biggest companies that have some of the greatest shows out there. I definitely recommend you watch Bosch, Bosch Legacy, Ballard, Lincoln Lawyer, so many shows, so many shows.com, so many mashups. So, but yeah, no, this show was very good, but it made the police and FBI and everybody else in their mother look bad, like they don't give a shit about anybody but themselves. I mean, maybe it's
Hmm.
real, maybe it's not. I'm not out there. I will never be out there. I was very entertained with the season. I love it. The characters are so good in this show. Everybody's the best. Lorna's coming along. She's becoming, I guess, a specialty in divorce
Yes.
litigation, and
Well, not only that, but her character was seemed to be burning the candle at six different ends at some points during the season. So it was nice when she actually did reach out to Maggie to wave the white flag, so to speak. And Tracy and I were talking the first couple episodes that we hoped that this big divorce settlement was going to be a big payday for the firm to kind of keep them above water for a little bit. And they did get a payday out of it. I don't know what the exact amount was, but better than nothing. So yes, so Lorna's a badass and taking on all these divorce cases and
one of the big shining spots on the season was that we only had one case, I feel. a lot of these shows that we do with Amazon and Netflix and Michael Connelly especially, it's like the season starts and six things open up, and now we're in episode five, and then we have to solve six things before we have five episodes left to solve six mysteries.
Yep.
This was specifically about the case with Mickey and Mickey in court and them figuring out this case. Felt like they kept it very internal, which was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
They brought back some characters from the past, which I thought was cool. My man Val was back.
Yes, we were hoping you would mention that because you love Val from season
I
three. So
and I do wish I was kind of hoping that at some see now I thought about that because remember when she was talking to Cisco and she's like, "Can't Val be doing this?" And he's like, "It's my job. It's important. You can't have him screwing it up." And that's like right after the guy fell off the guy thrown out
yep.
on top of the car. So just imagine if it was Val in that situation,
Yeah.
like. That's what made me laugh about that. I was like, oh, if only it would have been Val, it would have been so much more funny because he he would have just drove away and just been
Yep.
out.
Yeah. I'm out. Peace. Yeah, I did love the friends and family discount that Val gave Mickey on the bail, and a few scenes that came true that I was predicting from season three. We had Jessica come in as a prosecution witness to talk about that scene where I saw her kind of snap her head when Mickey went off
Yep.
on Sam. If you don't pay us, you're dead. I like seeing that, and the other scene that I loved seeing come into fruition was them walking on the beach after he was bailed out because
Oh,
that part is in the book. It's him and Haley and a girlfriend, not Maggie, but obviously Maggie was there and she had to leave quickly to get back to San
goes,
Diego,
yeah.
unfortunately. But I love seeing that he actually got to walk on the beach with Haley and Maggie and spend time with them after being bailed out there. So yeah, I was happy for those two scenes from this season. There was a lot of great scenes, great moments.
Another shining moment was Cisco is now doesn't have a motorcycle no more. He has a broken down pickup truck
Yeah.
that has landscaping equipment in the back, and he's like, so now I try to blend in.
Yes, yes. I think he's learned his mistake from being lost by or the DEA agent shaking him in the season three. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like yeah, him driving the beat up truck, but not only that, but driving Lorna's Cooper or Mini Cooper type
Oh,
of
he
thing.
couldn't even get in the car.
Yeah, I know. It's like Mickey's gone into that vehicle a few times. He's like, how does Cisco even fit in this thing? And so we kind of see him using that and telling Lorna, oh, just use the pickup truck, and then she's trying to drive this rusty old beat up pickup truck. Not only that, but the scene where they were coming back from Phoenix and they're racing against the clock to be back into LA County by midnight. That scene was those scenes were awesome
Yeah.
because they got this little rental car that's not powerful enough to break speed limits and stuff like that. So it's just a great scene there, great episode there in general.
He had to run past the border to get through, and the judge was also one of my favorites. Shout out to the judge before we go.
Yeah, Judge Stone was a great character. In fact, I was just watching. I was watching a recap from Paradise, which we're going to do another mashup here in a
He's
few
in it.
seconds. Yeah, he was in it. I forgot about that. So when I
So
saw
did
him pop
I.
up in the recap, I'm like, oh shoot, I know that guy. He's a judge now.
There you go. So if you watch Paradise, look for our next exclusive will be our coverage for Paradise coming soon on so many shows, so many shows.com, so many mashups. Mike for Pete for season 4 of The Lincoln Lawyer. That's a wrap. We'll be back for season 5. Believe that.
Yes,
Have a
looking
good
forward
one.
to it. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and have a great week.